If living means bowing down to the likes of you bastards, I'd rather die on my feet with my head held high.
Today, we're taking a trip back to the early 2000s, a golden era for anime, the time when your PlayStation 2 was still the hottest thing in town, and Naruto was just starting to give Dragon Ball Z a run for its money. But we're not here to talk about those mainstream shonen giants. Oh no, today we're diving into a real gem, Samurai Champloo. Let's set the stage. Samurai Champloo takes place in an alternate version of Edo period Japan, which means we've got all the historical goodies: samurai, ninjas, and tea houses. But here's the twist: throw in some hip-hop, breakdance fighting, and a soundtrack that slaps harder than your mom when you didn't do the dishes. First up, we've got Mugen, the wild child with a past murkier than your search history. He's got the fighting style of a breakdancer on steroids, and a personality that's basically fuck around and find out if Mugen were an ice cream flavor. He'd be something weird like spicy wasabi nut, unexpected, a bit painful, but surprisingly addicting.
I'll take all you bitches on! Oh yeah!
Just look at this guy. He's like if Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop got possessed by a Tasmanian devil. His sword style is so unorthodox, it's like he learned it by watching old Jackie Chan movies on Fast Forward. Then we've got Jin, the samurai, so cool and collected, he makes Mr. Spock look like an emotional wreck.
I fail to understand why I should care.
Jin's the kind of guy who could probably solve a Rubik's Cube while meditating underwater. He's all about the classic Bushido code, but don't let the glasses fool you. This dude can slice through enemies like a hot knife through butter.
Even if that lord is an unimportant piece of shit.
Seriously, Jin's swordplay is so precise. It's like watching Bob Ross paint smooth, calm, and before you know it, bam, there's a happy little accident and someone's missing a limb.
What? 100 dumplings!
And last but not least, there's Fuyu, our spunky teenage waitress, who's basically the glue holding this trio of chaos together. She's got more guts than most shonen protagonists, and let's be real, if it weren't for her, Mugen and Jin would have killed each other before episode 2. She's on a mission to find the samurai who smells of sunflowers, whatever that means, and ropes these two knuckleheads into helping her. Bless her heart. Look at her, practically dragging these two, they're her unruly children at a supermarket. She's the real MVP, folks. Imagine having to deal with these two idiots on a daily basis. Give this girl a medal. So how do these three end up together, you ask? Well, it all starts in a little tea house where Fuyu works. Let's start with the beginning, episode 1, Tempestuous Temperaments. Right from the get-go, we're thrown into chaos. Mugen, the wild one, gets into a brawl with a bunch of samurai and takes on the corrupt government officials, while Jin's out here being all stoic and brooding, taking on the same corrupt officials, but in the complete opposite way. It's like watching two different genres clash headfirst into each other, and the result is a fiery dance of swordsmanship and swagger. And then there's Fu, who somehow gets these two hotheads on a mission to find her long-lost father. Oh, and can we talk about that fight between Mugen and Jin in the tea house? These two samurai don't just fight, they practically destroy the place. And it sets the tone for the entire series: unpredictable, chaotic, and brimming with tension. It's like they both studied at the Kill Bill school of sword fighting, fast, brutal, and with no regard for property damage. Plus, it gets them both sentenced to execution, which, happens in the first episode. Talk about raising the stakes. Now, after narrowly escaping their execution thanks to Fuyu, the trio is forced to stick together as Fu's bodyguards. It's a classic odd couple setup. Jin's the traditional samurai, all calm and collected, while Mugen's a wild card who would probably set the world on fire if he could. And Fuyu. She's like the glue keeping them from tearing each other apart. Episode 2, Redai Reprisal, is where the tension really kicks off. They face off against a group of Ronin, and we start to see a glimpse of their backstories. Mugen's reckless fighting style is in full display, contrasting Jin's disciplined techniques, while Fuyu keeps them focused on her goal: finding the samurai who smells of sunflowers. But is this guy even real? We'll get to that later. Moving on to episode 5, Artistic Anarchy, one of the more lighthearted but beautifully crafted episodes. The trio gets roped into helping an artist paint a mural for a lord. The conflict? Fuyu meets Yukio-e artist Hishikawa Moranobu. Meanwhile, Detective Sakami Manzu, the Saw, is investigating a slave trafficking ring. Fu poses for Hishikawa for pay, Jin plays games with an old man, and Mugen beats up street thugs. When Hishikawa is finished, Fu is kidnapped by the local Yakuza. Hishikawa was working for them due to his paintings not selling, but the Yakuza turn on him. Mugen saves Fuyu, while Manzu arrests the man Jin was playing with as part of the trafficking ring. Hishiwaka, vowing never to forget Fuyu, plans to go to Holland to pursue his artistic dreams, and narration reveals he failed, but that his art became influential and famous worldwide. The series can swing from quirky to deadly serious. One of the most emotionally charged episodes comes in episode 11, Gamblers and Gallantry. This time, Jin takes center stage. He falls for a courtesan, Shino, and actually goes against his stoic nature to help her escape from a life of forced prostitution. For a series that leans heavily on action and humor, it's moments like these that remind you there's real depth to these characters. Jin's backstory unfolds here, shedding light on his honor and loneliness. His moral compass is a guiding force, even when he has to make tough decisions. His relationship with Shino, even though it's short-lived, shows that even the most hardened samurai has a heart. Let's talk episode 14, Misguided Miscreants, a two-parter that dives into Mugen's backstory. We get to learn about his past as a pirate and his relationship with his old crew. Mugen's always been a mystery and untamed force of nature, but this is the episode where we see that he isn't just some reckless drifter. He's a survivor of some of the toughest conditions imaginable. The moment where Mugen confronts his past gang is tense. You can see his internal conflict. Part of him still holds on to his past, but another part is searching for something more. This episode gives us a deeper understanding of why Mugen is the way he is. He's not just running from authority, he's running from a life that almost destroyed him. Episode 18, War of the Words, is one of those episodes that gives you a little break from the intensity, but it's still filled with that Champloo flair. Our trio finds themselves in the middle of a graffiti war between rival artists. It's weird, wild, and strangely deep. You wouldn't expect it, but the episode touches on the idea of self-expression and rebellion. Plus, the graffiti scenes? Beautiful. This show is so much more than just sword fights. We also see Fuyu starting to become more assertive here. She's not just the damsel in distress anymore, she has agency, and she's pushing the group forward. There's a subtle shift happening as the trio becomes more like a found family. It's dysfunctional, but hey, aren't all families? Finally, we reach the end, episodes 24 through 26, the tempestuous Twilight arc. The trio arrives at their final destination, and tensions are at an all-time high. Fuyu is about to meet the samurai who smells of sunflowers. Well, it's not what she expected. Turns out he's her father, and he's not exactly hero material. But before we get to the emotional confrontation, there's the small matter of Mugen and Jin's rivalry reaching its boiling point. After 26 episodes of tension, these two finally have their showdown. It's brutal, raw, and everything you've been waiting for. Every strike feels heavy, and then, just when you think one of them is about to go down for good, they're interrupted. It's the perfect move, reminding us that even though these guys are rivals, they're also brothers in arms. They're not meant to kill each other, at least not yet. Every episode feels like its own mini-movie. There's one where they help a graffiti artist paint the shogun's castle. Another has them battling a zombie horde during a baseball game. It's like the writers threw every idea at the wall to see what stuck, and honestly, it all stuck. It's a beautiful mess. Over time, we get to see Mugen and Jin's relationship develop. They go from wanting to kill each other to, while still wanting to kill each other, but with more respect. It's like watching Goku and Vegeta, but if Vegeta was a calm, quiet samurai and Goku was. Okay, Mugen's actually a lot like Goku. Reckless, loves fighting, always hungry. Dang, Mugen's just Edo period Goku with a sword. But it's not all fun and games. There are moments when they genuinely care for each other. And then there's Fuyu, bless her heart, who's on this quest to find her dad. The samurai who smells of sunflowers. This girl's determination is next level. She's dragging these two idiots across Japan, dodging death at every turn, and still manages to keep her eyes on the prize. All right, let's get a little deep here, folks. Samurai Champloo isn't just about sword fights and hip-hop beats. It's also about freedom versus confinement. Mugen is all about living wild and free, embodying that I do what I want attitude. Meanwhile, Jin is bound by honor, traditions, and his past. They're like two sides of the same coin, constantly battling between following the rules or breaking them. It's this ongoing tug of war between these two ideologies that makes their dynamic so compelling. Jin's restraint versus Mugen's reckless abandon. It's like watching a philosophical debate, but with more sword slashing and less talking. Fu's quest to find the samurai who smells of sunflowers is less about the actual dude and more about finding peace and closure in a messed up world. It's poetic, really. Fu's out here chasing her metaphorical sunflower while we're all just trying to find some meaning in our 9-to-5 grind. Subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload.